should people be afraid of the looming economic
Well,
crisis?
yes and no, you see, because look, lots of countries have been through IMF bailouts. If you look at some of the things which the IMF would require, they're probably things we ought to be doing anyway, which we're not. And in that sense, sensible things would happen, and we would probably rebalance the economy and rev it up again and ultimately be better off for it. But look, you can't go on the way that this government has gone on without facing a crisis sooner or later. It's completely feckless. I mean, 21 years and they haven't built a single power station. I mean, what on earth do they think they're doing? And we are clearly going to face a crisis over water within the next 5 years. And if you think a crisis over electricity is tough, wait and see what a crisis over water is like. I mean, they have not done the maintenance on any of these things. And the price for that will have to be paid. There's no way around it, you know. And the money is going. And look, if you drive through the Transkei, drive through little towns like Iduchwa, Butterworth, even Umtata, what you will see is the mayor and the councillors with Mercedes and BMWs, and you will see pavements falling to pieces because no one is investing in the town at all. They're taking all the money for consumption of their own. And that is a sort of analogy of what our new elite has been doing. Instead of investing heavily in new infrastructure like power stations, they've been having a ball, spending it on Nkandla or parties or foreign trips or whatever you like, you know, and getting rich. And I mean, you can't go on like that indefinitely.
Is the ANC government making South Africa look like a foolish country on the international stage?
Not yet, I would say, because mainly people haven't fully understood how bad the situation is, and I think the image of Mandela and that period is still very strong, and I find that very often, talk to people in Britain and America, they say, oh, we had such a different impression because of Mandela. And you have to say, yeah, well, that was a long time ago now, and that, you know, that doesn't really apply to what we're facing now. But look, it's not the worst thing in the world. As I say, many countries have misbehaved. I mean, Venezuela's going to end up the same way, for heaven's sake. They're in a terrible mess. Brazil's in a very bad mess too, let alone Russia. I mean, many countries get into a mess and then have to go through a sort of purgative process to get out of it. And we haven't had to do that, really. I suppose the nearest was GEAR, the Mbeki's policy. You know, remember the GEAR policy of '96, which, if you like, I think Mbeki understood that the way the debt was mounting, that they would end up having to go to the IMF, and he didn't want that at all costs. And so, in a sense, he implemented a sort of internal IMF policy, if you know what I mean, a preemptive one. And it was tough, but it worked. And the books were rebalanced, and then the economy boomed, and, you know, there was a nice period of everyone being very happy at 5% growth.
Now, what do you hope the everyday South African, your average Joe on the street, takes away from reading this book? Not fear.
No, I don't feel fearful in
Okay.
that sense, you know. I'm sure that at the end of the day, you know, this society will survive. It's very resilient. Look what it's been through already. It's been through almost a civil war and the horrors of apartheid and this, that, and the other, you know. But I think it'll be a rough period, and I think that it really is a situation, it's a dangerous thing to say, but I think it really is a situation where things have to get better before they'll get worse. Sorry, they have to get worse before they'll get better. I mean, that's always, as I say, a dangerous thing to say, but I think that is actually the truth of our situation now. No, I just think that people have been led up the garden path that they have not, this has not been explained to them. They do not understand the gravity of the situation and why they are moving towards what they are. And instead of which, I mean, just look how ridiculous it is. These are the real things we're talking about here. And what have people been going on about They've been going on about whether there should be a statue of Rhodes on the university campus, for God's sake. I mean, it's ridiculous stuff. It's just not serious. As you say, if Maimani becomes leader, it's all about trying to prove he's a white man in some sort of way. This is childish stuff. This is not about the real things at all. And I think Nene is facing it more with the public servants demanding a 10% pay increase in an era of virtually zero growth. And he knows that if he's going to give them what they ask, he will have to go and borrow the money abroad in order to give them a pay hike. I mean, madness. Yeah. Where on earth do they, how on earth does anyone think you can keep on doing that? You know? But that's what he's up against, and those expectations are out there, and no one has stood up to them really so far. But they're going to have to, you know, without a doubt.
Now, I like that word resilience that you used there. I do think South Africa is a resilient country, and as you said, we shouldn't be afraid about these predictions, but maybe just a little bit more aware of what's going on. Now, you can read R.W. Johnson's How Long Will South Africa Survive? You can pick it up at all good bookstores. If you've read it already, please do let us know what you thought of it in the comment section below this video.